Tiffany, Timothy, and also Dylan and Kyle to our worship. Actually, this is the first time that we have our own service for youth. So I hope this Sabbath will be a blessing to each one of you. And as you know, I'm bilingual. I'm taking school right now in Moody Bible Institute. I'm taking my master degree in Bible exposition. And you know, when I introduce myself, I'm bilingual. The people notice that he's not only so he speak two languages. So today, you know, it is my privilege to speak to you this Sabbath, and you know, I prepare something related with my homework in my assignment in my school. So I hope this thing can be a blessing for all of you. And you know, forgive me for my accent and forgive me for my grammar if I'm not wrong. If I'm wrong to say that. And I just hope that when we come out from this worship, we have something in mind that we are going to be blessed. We are going to be blessed today. So welcome again to Timothy, Tiffany, Dylan, and Kyle, and welcome to everybody here. So my topic today, I call it finding real and lasting joy in the midst of our difficult circumstances. How many of you facing hard times in your life? Do you? I thought youth doesn't facing any hard times. I thought only parents, because you know, as a parents, we gotta think, you know, how we're going to pay the bills, how to pay the tuition, how to pay the mortgage and everything. And beside that, you know, there's a lot of problems, struggling and everything. So my topic today, I'm going to talk about how to find real and lasting joy in the midst of our difficult circumstances. If you have your Bible, you can open in Philippians chapter 1, verse 12 to 26. Philippians chapter 1, verse 12 to 26. When Paul wrote the letter to the Philippians, he was concerned about the Philippians' situation. According to Silva is an author of Philippians. He is an author of Wycliffe Exegetical Commentary. And he said that, you know, when Paul wrote the letter to the Philippians, they were concerned. They were concerned about what happened in Philippians. They were facing adversity, and Philippians church, they lost the sense of Christian joy on worshiping God. And if you read in Philippians chapter 1, if you see in verse 1 to 11, the focus there is to continue. Paul's suggestion is to continue proclaiming the gospel as well living the gospel. And in verse 12 to 26, it says there, the focus shift here. Instead of encourage them to proclaiming the gospel, living the gospel, but Paul reassured the Philippians about the importance of the progress of gospel as a result of Paul's circumstances. You know, what is Paul's circumstances? If you read in Philippians 1 to 12:24, it says there, I want you to know, brothers, that what has happened to me has really served to the advance of the gospel, so that it has become known through the whole imperial guards and to all the rest that my imprisonment is for Christ. And most of the brothers, having become confident in the Lord by my imprisonment, are much more bold to speak the word without fear.
Amen.
So do you know what the Paul's circumstances here? He was in prison. Can you guys imagine being in prison? To see our friends, as an immigrant, when they come to this country, and to see them, get caught by ICE, and they send them. Before they send them, they have to go to prison first before they send them back. It's hard to see. It's hard to see them. And I can imagine, when Paul itself was in prison.
Mm-hmm.
This is one of his circumstances. And if you read the Bible, you will find out that Paul in prison because he killed somebody, because he steals something.
Mm.
No, he was in prison because of the gospel. And Paul said that because of his imprisonment, it has caused the advance of the gospel. It has caused the imperial guard and all the people in Rome to know Christ. It has caused the brothers in Rome to become confident by his imprisonment to speak about Christianity, to speak about the Christ without fear. And when Paul informed this to the Philippians, he said that he found joy and happiness by seeing the advance of the gospel. Let's read again in verse 15 to 18a. Some indeed preach Christ from envy and rivalry, but others from goodwill. The latter do it out of love, knowing that I am put here to defend the gospel. The former proclaim Christ out of selfish ambition, not sincerely, but thinking to afflict me in my imprisonment. What then? Only in every way, whether in pretense or in truth, Christ is proclaimed, and in that I rejoice. If you see the Bible here, if you see this verse, Paul described how people has preached the gospel with different motive. Some of them preach the gospel because of envy and rivalry. Some of them preach the gospel because of goodwill, and some of them preach the gospel because of self-ambition. In our real life, even in preachers' business, sometimes, there's an envy, there's a rivalry. Just because, maybe the other preacher is better than others, According to Silva that I mentioned, he is the author of the commentary, the Wycliffe commentary, and Fee Moises, he says that these are not false preachers. These are not false preachers. They are not proclaim different gospel from what Paul preached, but they said they are driven by impure motive, envy, and rivalry. What happened with Paul? Regardless of people preach the gospel with different motive, Paul still what? Paul still rejoice. Paul still rejoiced because Christ is proclaimed to all the people. Paul found joy and happiness in the fact that the gospel was being preaching, even some people preaching with different motive. Let's go to the third point. In verse 18b to verse 26. Yes, I will rejoice, for I know that through your prayers and the help of the Spirit of Jesus Christ, this will turn out for my deliverance, as in my eager expectation and hope that I will not be at all ashamed, but that with full courage now, as always, Christ will be honored in my body, whether by life or by death. For me, to live is Christ, and to die is a gain. If I'm to live in the flesh, that means fruitful labor for me, yet which I shall choose, I cannot tell. I am hard pressed between the two. My desire is to depart and be with Christ, For that it better, but to remain in the flesh is more necessary on your account. Convinced of this, I know that I will remain and continue with you all for your progress and joy in the faith, so that in me you may have ample cause to glory in Jesus because of my coming to you again. If you pay attention for what I said here, Paul continued to rejoice through the prayer and the support of the Philippians. Paul continued to rejoice through the prayer of the God's people in Rome. And you know what? Paul still hoped that through the prayer and the supply of the Spirit, he will not be ashamed, but he will be safe and vindicated. And as Paul said, joy and happiness also, he anticipated, God will be magnified through his trial. His joy and happiness is to live for Christ and to die is again. His joy and happiness is as he expected to return to the Philippi. When Paul first worked with the Philippians, he go there with Timothy and Silas. The Bible, we cannot find how long they are stay with the Philippians, but what we can see is during the time they spend with the Philippians, they spend long enough time because they built deep relationship with the Philippians. So for Paul to look forward to work with the Philippians, for him, he found joy and happiness just to look forward to work again with the Philippians. In my last point, I want you to pay attention in verse 20. I pick up from NASB. It says there, according to my earnest expectation and hope that I will not be put ashamed in anything, but with all boldness Christ will even know as always be exalted in my body, whether by life or by death. For me, when I look at this chapter, Philippians chapter 1, verse 12 to 26, this is the key verse. This is the key verse for this chapter. Why? Paul was expect and hope that always Christ will be exalted in my body. What does it mean being exalted? What does it mean being exalted? Paul wanted, through his body, God shall be glorified. This is what the base. This is what make Paul, helping Paul to face his difficult time and his devastating situation. What is Paul's circumstances? I already mentioned before. One is his imprisonment. And the second one, what else? I mentioned before. He was facing the competitors from other preachers. And lastly, he said that he was facing trials whether he could face a death sentence or life from his case. Can you imagine being in front of the court, and they put something, and you don't know what the result will be. You might die. You might be punished. Maybe a death sentence or life sentence for you. That's going to be hard. And indeed, Paul facing these three things, these three challenges. One, he was imprisonment. He was facing competitors from other preachers, and he doesn't know whether he's going to come out alive or die. You know what? Many of us facing a real situation like Paul. What is your reaction to that? What is your reaction to that? In Paul's difficult time and Paul's devastating situation, the only thing Paul wanted is Christ to be exalted. The only thing that he wanted is through his body, God will glorify. Paul found real and lasting joy through his difficult time and through his devastating situations. You know what? Believers, all of us can find a real and lasting joy in our trials when we see that through our body, God will be exalted and honor Christ. You know, I want to share a story about Emmanuel Leak. Emmanuel Leak, this happened about 10 years ago. Emmanuel Leak returned to his home in West Africa just to find a police waiting in front of his home to handcuff him and then take him to the prison, take him to the police station. You know, there had been a death in the village, and Leak's name was on the top of the list. So, you know, he get handcuffed and detained in the police station. In this police station, they were questioning him, a lot of questions regarding the death. You know, but he answered all the questions that not prove he himself is the killer. And you know what happened? The police keep insist that he's the one killed that person. He's the one killed that person. You know what happened? He went to jail because of the wrong accusation. So, you know, he was staying in the prison for a while. The police station for a while, and finally he was transferred to the prison. They call it Prison Civil de l'Homme. This is the main prison in Togo, West Africa. This is the main prison, and you know what? He remained in the prison for 5 years and 4 days, and he was innocent.